Showtime. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Jeff has made a life of being himself, and look what it's got him. He's on a TV show at 12:30. You know what they used to put? Beep at that time.
Jeff Lutz.
Here's why I've gone vegan. It's not really like the milk or the eggs themselves. It's what milk and eggs are put into.
If you ask me, that stuff rots your brain.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
All right, welcome back. We are back. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz, your co-host, Max Power, producing, engineering the show. 869-1240, that is the IHOP hotline. You heard the Wabash Cannonball. KFH now your home of K-State Athletics. And Tim Fitzgerald from GoPowerCat.com will be on the show tomorrow to talk about K-State football, a day before they open their season on Saturday at Bill Snyder Family Stadium against Southeast Missouri State. Joanna Chadwick back in our fold tomorrow as well, our high school sports insider.
I can't wait to get her prepped for that appearance and
For that's you know what,
let
we're
her
gonna,
know what
we're
kind of
gonna
things.
talk to her about that.
We are. Are
Yeah.
we even? Am I even allowed to talk with Joanna?
Why?
We're fierce competitors now.
Vibes magazine. You're an on-air entity at KWCH. We'll tune in to Catch It Kansas show.
Thank you.
Friday night. You won't be on it.
I won't. Probably
be,
not anyway. I wouldn't imagine.
Well, I can't imagine you would be.
I
You'd
don't
be
think so.
driving, won't you?
Not this. Yeah, this Friday. I don't think I'll ever be on it though. Is what I'm saying.
Why wouldn't you be on it? Why wouldn't they throw you a little bone and
I don't know. Maybe I will.
have you come on and talk about things? What's your role?
Yeah, it's helping out.
Helping out what?
Digital side. Pushing out video, getting stats and scores. I don't know what my role is. I just told them, tell me what you want me to do, and I'll do it.
And you think you can push out video? Well,
I do, yes.
Well, good luck to you on that. I've never pushed out a video in my life.
My friend Matt Heilman will be with me.
You know what partially drove me nuts? When I didn't go to the Wichita Eagle or train in print journalism to become a video guy, right?
Sure.
That was never my intention. And as we went along in the digital age, it became more and more required. And I resisted it as much as I could. And I think I got through my entire career without ever really doing much in the video world.
Well, that's not
Should I be proud of that?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because we talked to Don Williams. We talked to these guys who've been in it who still do it. They change with the times. Hey, if we got to do video, I guess I'm doing video.
I'm going to bring our old scribes back, Harold
Well, I
Bouchard
tried to
and
do that
Kevin
last
Haas.
week.
Well, they don't like you.
That's probably it.
You don't give them the respect. You don't tell them, way to not get in that video game, guys. More power to you.
Video game. Okay.
Yeah, the video game.
I got
it. What became necessary in the newspaper world. I was not a video person.
Well, there's probably people
Didn't want to learn.
in the newspaper. I can't think of an analogy.
I was a
but there's
writer.
one there.
I was a writer. Is that not valuable? When did that lose its value?
I didn't say it. No one said it
No,
did.
but it has.
According to whom?
It's just lost some value. It's not enough now to be a writer. You got to be a multimedia guy.
Yeah, I get it. I am. So that makes sense.
Well, you're not really. What have you done multimedia?
Radio, television.
Well, I've done
internet.
radio. Am I a multimedia guy?
I'm a multimedia superstar. I'm a multimedia
You
superstar.
are. And should I tell the people what you're making?
Yeah. You know? Because,
I have an idea. If you're a multimedia superstar,
hey, my
Yeah,
raise kicks
there'd
in.
be another number or two in front of it.
My
you know
raise
what I'm
kicks
saying?
in. I'm officially at 1 year on this contract.
Well, good for you.
2 more years to go. It's time to start renegotiating.
Really?
Maybe.
You know what they'll do?
What?
Okay, we'll renegotiate. You're done in 2 years. How's that for renegotiation?
That's not renegotiating.
That's my renegotiation.
That's what my contract. I'm not done, but I have 2 years left.
We got you for 2 more years. We'll make the decision then, pal.
You think?
Yeah.
I renegotiated last year after a year.
Well, they may have had a change of heart.
Well, we certainly they may have certain new guy in charge.
You never know in this
He
world.
seems to tolerate me, so that's good.
I managed to make it last for 43 years at the Wichita Eagle, even with my hard-headedness. How do you think that happened?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be 81 at KWCH, but I might.
Well, I mean, I started when I was 19.
That's my point. I started when I was 38.
It's amazing to think that I worked at that newspaper for 43 years. I worked at another newspaper before that for 2.5 years. And I've been retired from the newspaper world for a little more than 6 years. So you add all that up,
51.
that's 51 years.
Don't forget your Dairy Queen years.
Well, I'm talking about how long I've been in journalism.
No.
I consider this to be some form of journalism, this show.
No.
It's some form of journalism. We are informing people. We had Dusty Trail on to talk about Bishop Carroll. That informed people.
Sure.
We had John Kirby on to inform people about Kansas football. We've done 13 Big 12 football previews, which, by the way, you can only get on this show.
Is that true?
It is true.
Well, that's good. I wish other people would start doing that so we didn't have to.
It doesn't happen at KWCH, does it?
Well, no.
No, you guys are too busy.
Does anyone
look what Mays South did.
Does anyone in Wichita care about BYU football?
Nothing against Mays South.
Yeah, it sounds like there is something against Mays South.
I have all the respect in the world for Mays South. But people want to know what the Big 12 looks like. And we've given them that idea. We've told them what to expect with every team now except Kansas State, which we'll take care of tomorrow.
Timmy Fitz.
Do you not think that's a worthwhile endeavor?
Mostly.
Of course people care about BYU.
They do?
Sure they do.
Interesting.
They're in the Big 12, aren't they?
It's Division I football! I don't know why I did that. But when you said Big 12, it sounded like that Colorado coach.
Why do you
it's
yell
the Big
like
12!
that? Why do you yell?
Because he yelled.
That's not funny, nor is it appropriate.
It wasn't appropriate.
Nor is it needed.
It wasn't needed, but it was funny.
I don't know. I feel like Max, if we could feed Max truth serum, because Max's goal in life is to make everybody feel good. And he's good at it.
It is?
Yeah, he's good about that.
What?
I think.
Are we talking about the same person?
I think if Max were to raise his right hand under oath and be asked the question, and Max, I'd like you to weigh in here with whatever your answer, because you're not under truth serum, and we understand that. But whatever your answer would be,
I'm on gummies.
who brings more value to this show?
You know he's not going to answer that.
Bob or Jeff?
Jeff.
Say that again. What's the question?
Who brings more value to this show, Bob or Jeff? Now, I know you're going to try to wiggle your way loose on that one, and you'll come up with an answer that does not offend either of us.
What's more
because
important, an
you're good
engine
at
or a
that.
transmission? You need them both.
Which one am I? The engine, probably.
Engine doesn't matter. You need them both.
Would you be offended if you were the transmission?
Well, I'd have to figure out why I was the
Because the
transmission.
engine, the transmission,
Oil or
and thank you,
gas?
Max. That's
Oil
we'll,
or gas.
We'll let
Either,
you
know.
off the hook.
You need them
We'll
both.
take it from here. Your answer spoke volumes,
It
and we'll
did.
take it from here. The transmission, while extremely valuable, is only a small part of the engine. The engine.
So I am the engine.
The engine encompasses all. The engine looks at the transmission and says, "I'll be with you in a minute. I got some pistons I
You
need
know
to work."
anything about cars.
Yeah, I just said pistons.
That doesn't.
I got a radiator.
Define piston.
What
what is
makes
a
the car
piston?
go?
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I got a radiator I got to deal. We'll get to you later on.
What is a piston?
Transmission. The Detroit Pistons. The pistons is what drives the engine. The churning of the pistons. Now,
I
I'm
guess I'll
not
give
sure in
that to you.
today's car world what the situation is with pistons, but I would guess it's still a vital and viable part of the engine.
It's got to be,
However,
right?
when asked about the pistons, the engine, me, would say, "Yeah, I appreciate the engine."
From all the rest of the parts of the car, that's cool.
Here's what I would say about the pistons as the engine. I certainly appreciate the pistons. They make a very valuable contribution. But right now I've got other concerns. I need new spark plugs.
So this car that you're the engine of is just crumbling.
I'm running
that makes sense.
I'm running the whole engine.
That actually makes perfect sense.
Do you understand that?
Yeah, the car around
So,
you
while
stinks.
Max said you're the transmission,
He didn't say that.
well, he intimated it.
No, he didn't. But
Anybody
it's unfortunate that you have bad pistons, you have a bad
I
radiator.
don't have bad pistons. I got to pay attention to some other things.
You just said you had a bad
Yeah,
rotary girder.
As the engine, it's not for me to determine what's running smoothly. I got to be on top of it all the time. I got to be paying attention to every part
Why
of the
does
engine.
the engine pay attention?
Because the engine drives everything. The engine is a sum of its parts. The parts on this show and
Are we about ready for picks?
extremely valuable parts.
I've
Are you-
decided I'm over this.
Max, Tony, our callers. It's all in
Do you
that.
think?
It's all under
Do you
that
think?
hood. Are you really tired of this conversation?
Absolutely, 100%.
David Hahn
I'm
is
so done
holding
with it.
for you guys.
Who's holding Max?
David Hahn.
Here's David Hahn,
David
our
Michael
friend,
Hahn.
former co-host of this show, who's probably coming to Jeff's defense.
It's crazy, though, before you start, David Michael Hahn, one of my good friends, I've not heard from him since the Cleveland Guardians acquired 3 significant pitchers. I thought I might get a congratulations, but anyway, go ahead.
I was just calling about kind of this whole discussion we're having and the whole multimedia concept that you were talking about. Bob, I just wanted to comment. I remember hearing you on a very prominent podcast not too long ago in the Wichita area, and I just thought that'd be another feather in your cap.
Well, there's no doubt, and I appreciate that, and that was on your podcast, and there's no doubt that I have made significant contributions to the podcast world.
When's the last episode you did?
It's been a while. Jeff, I guess you were on it briefly as well, so.
Yeah, thanks.
Was Jeff on the last podcast?
Probably.
He was
that
not.
finally the
No, but I'm interested in getting Jeff on an upcoming episode. We could use a transmission on our show for sure.
Goodbye.
every show needs transmission. That's no doubt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that was funny.
That's supposed to be one of my best friends, and he just calls
Well,
and
I think what he did there
rails me.
Well, I don't know that he railed you, but what he did is support my status here. All right, let's take a break. We're going to need some time for picks because we're bringing in another guy that, serves a purpose here.
Shouldn't David Michael Hahn make picks with us?
I'd call him the oil stick. Jason Duda will be back with us here momentarily as we make picks.
On 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
They're really rocking in Boston and Pittsburgh, PA, deep in the heart of Texas and round the Frisco Bay, all over St.
Sweet Little
Louis,
16, Chuck
and
Berry.
down in New
Songs
Orleans.
with sweet in the title.
All the cats gonna dance.
As we move along here, we're trying to get Duda. Where's Duda? He knows we're making picks. A very low tolerance.
Where is Duda?
Max is trying to get him.
You don't need to text him. We're trying to get him.
I want people to know.
We don't. We're trying. He knows.
We're trying.
Max is trying. Duda knows when picks are. Texting him isn't going to do anything.
Well, we're a couple minutes early, but texting might do something.
Maybe.
He might
but
say the
unlikely.
engine's texting now
Oh, really?
instead of the spark plugs.
The spark plugs that are probably out because you have a bad engine.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Well, you said it. You said all these parts were malfunctioning.
We'll get to picks as soon as we get Duda into the mix. We have our fantasy football league draft tonight out at Side Pockets. We won't have pizza, which we've provided, so I'm going to get the guys wings tonight.
You are?
I am.
On you?
You want to contribute to that?
I don't.
Why not? No, really. Why
I'm
not?
leaving for New York
Are you not part of the show?
tomorrow.
Can you kick in some money to?
I'll probably just get my own meal.
Oh, really?
I'm leaving for New York tomorrow.
So everybody else to heck
Also, I
with
don't
it.
have any cash.
They'll take cards. Trust me.
How are they going to charge half a wing on a card?
They can charge
Which is
half
all I'm
of
paying.
what our order is.
No, half of one wing is what I'm paying.
So you're telling me and the audience right now that the Bob and Jeff football fantasy draft,
You're the engine.
but it'd be nice if you'd contribute.
Well, I'm going to show up.
How about if you pay for 30% of the?
30%?
Yeah,
That's like, man, I bet these guys can take
it'll
down
probably be a $60
8
bill.
wings.
So you pay 20.
That's a lot. I don't know.
You good?
Not really.
Well, you'll be fine.
Man, I gave my tickets away. Do we have Duda yet?
No,
Apparently not.
all we have is his voicemail.
Okay.
Now I am going to text. Tell us about your
Text him.
ticket.
Well, I had my Cedric the Entertainer tickets, and I put them on StubHub a couple months ago or a while back, several weeks ago, and they weren't getting any hits for the show on Saturday, and so I gave them to Mike Furchess, and then they sold. So I had to not let that person who bought them have the tickets, and now I get charged.
Well, good. Mike Furchess is very happy with that.
He is?
Sometimes it's good to just to do good things. For
Try
people.
to.
I don't know why you're even bringing it up. Like I wish I had.
Because I don't
what you're
have-
saying is you wish you hadn't given these tickets
No.
away to Mike.
I'm telling you, I got charged twice for buying tickets that I don't even now get to use, and you're asking me to buy people
Why'd you
wings.
get charged twice?
Because I couldn't fulfill the person who bought them off of StubHub because I'd already given them to Mike.
Well, that's your own fault.
He might be.
Yeah, that was no offense. Now that I'm really listening to you,
Yeah, now that
that's
you...
the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I mean, seriously,
Mike, if you're listening, float me. Never mind.
I cannot believe you did that.
Why?
I mean, it doesn't
They
even
were
make
on StubHub
sense.
forever, and I didn't think they were going to be sold, so I just gave them away.
Dude is now saying he's going to the first week of picks. I know he's out watching his kid play tennis, but unless he's in a 6-6 tiebreaker match, you know what I'm saying?
It's not a good look.
All right, here we go, Max. Let's hear the music. We'll get the picks underway. All right, our first game. And again, this is not, there are not a lot of great games on tap for week one of the college football season, but there's some interesting ones, including this one. Nebraska at Minnesota, a Big Ten game right out of the chute. Minnesota at home, 7.5-point favorite. Matt Rule making his debut as the head coach of the Cornhuskers. I'll start it. I like Nebraska to stay within that line. We pick by the points, and then we also, what do we call that, where we assign a point?
Confidence points.
Confidence points. I'm going to go 4 on that one. Jeff.
Before I make my pick, I would like to just say that picks are presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook, and the official sportsbook of KFH Sports Radio. I would like to also say this. Yes, the Big Ten unique because they play their conference games in week one, some of them, and then they go to the non-conference after that. But it makes for an interesting start to the season. I agree with you. Nebraska stays within relatively large number. I don't know why I think that. I just do for 2.
We'll get Duda's pick at some point. Max, what do you think?
Dude is busy. Yeah, I'll stick with Nebraska for 1. Since
Nebraska for 1, your pick.
I don't have any movie references today, but that might come back.
Well, we hope not. Next up, this one is interesting. Florida visiting Utah, an intersectional battle. It won't be long till every conference game is an intersectional battle. Florida getting 4.5 points at Utah. Jeff.
Yeah, I don't see it for Florida here. This is a road game. Utah's really good. I know their quarterback's out, but I still think they can win this game by about a touchdown. I've got Utah for 8.
I like Utah very much as well, and I also have Utah for 8. Jason
Okay,
Duda
so-
has Utah for 3.
You're
Max?
starting to write them in the wrong spot, but I guess since we both picked the same thing,
what
it's
did
okay.
what did Duda have for
do you
Nebraska,
mean?
Minnesota?
When I said Utah for 8, you wrote it under Bob. But it's
I knew
okay.
I was doing Utah for 8 anyway.
Oh, okay.
Max,
What did Duda have for Nebraska, Minnesota?
he had Minnesota for 2.
Okay. Just keeping track. Florida got to go cross country. Then here in Utah, I'm taking Utah for 7.
All of us outside of Duda very confident in the Utes to cover that spread. Next, I think the most intriguing game of the first weekend of a full college football slate. Deion Sanders taking the Colorado Buffaloes on the road to TCU to play the Horned Frogs. I was surprised that TCU was a 20.5 favorite here. Duda apparently not that surprised. He picks TCU for 1.
He seems like he'd be a Coach Prime hater.
Max?
Yeah, Colorado has to be fired up with prime time. I think they can keep it within 20.5. I'm taking Colorado for 2.
Colorado for 2. I'm a little more confident in Colorado. I'm taking them for 5.
Woo!
Jeff?
Yeah, I just want. I don't know if I want Colorado to be great, but I don't want this year one to be where they just get destroyed every time out. So I'm going to take Colorado for 1.
Wow. I'm quite a believer in Deion Sanders, apparently.
Guess so.
Next up, Ohio State visiting Bloomington to play Indiana, another Big Ten conference game. Ohio State, 30.5 points. That's how many points they are favored by. Max, we start with you.
In spite of 30.5 being quite a bit, I don't think Indiana has it for football, so I'll take Ohio State for 3.
Ohio State for 3. I like Ohio State in this one. Indiana is not going to be as good as they were last year from everything I've read. So I'm picking Ohio State for 7. Jeff?
Yeah, you would think Ohio State, they're going to put up about 50 every time out, maybe with the exception of Michigan or somebody like that. I have Ohio State for 4.
And Duda has Ohio State for 5. So unanimity with that pick. Next, Florida State at home. Boy, this is a heck of a game for week 1. Florida State at home, hosting the Bayou Tigers of LSU. Florida State getting 2.5 points. I like LSU to cover here, but for only 2.
That was my turn to go first. I
Well,
like
it was my turn. Now it's your turn.
Oh, you're
You go
right.
second.
LSU.
Engine transmission,
Oh,
folks.
you're struggling. Sputter. LSU for 5. I don't know why. I just think LSU is going to be better than Florida State.
Duda has LSU for 7 here, which is surprising.
A little bit.
Max?
LSU has a good offensive line and good quarterback. I'm sticking with LSU for 5.
LSU for 5. Again,
Clean
unanimity.
sweep.
Clemson at Duke. This one coming up Monday. After a full weekend of college football games, this is the one we get at the tail end. Clemson, a 13.5 point road favorite. Jeff?
Out of all the schools that kind of are annual sort of contenders or visitors to the CFP. I know it's been a while for Clemson, but of those teams, Clemson, I'm most tired of Clemson, and most tired of Dabo Swinney. But I have Clemson for 7.
Right. Who cares what you're tired of? Duda has Duke for 6.
Good for him.
You are not a man of your convictions.
Well, I don't know how to be.
Max.
Duda doesn't know they're playing football, not basketball, right? I'm looking
You
at.
never know.
I'm taking Clemson for all 8.
Wow. High
big.
confidence. I'm taking Clemson for 6. I don't get Duke for 6, but he's not here to defend himself,
He's not.
which is a shame.
It's kind of ridiculous. You need to. That's why he finishes last most of the time. Just bad vibes.
Now we move on to the state schools, and I have made the lines for both of these games based on as much knowledge as I could try to gain, and I'm not sure how well I've done. Missouri State at KU. I have KU as a 23.5-point favorite. We start with Duda. He's going Missouri State for all 8.
Good Lord.
Doesn't make sense. But we will hear from KU Pat. Max, what about you?
I wish I heard from KU Pat so I would know, but because of KU Pat and he's very upset about the switch of stations, I'm taking KU for 4.
KU for 4.
Is that why he's not calling us anymore?
Come on, Pat. I'll take Kansas for 3. Jeff.
I felt like our guy from Jayhawk Slant said, hey, Missouri State did this and did this. So he sold me. I've got Missouri State for 3.
Missouri State was really good last year. They're not going to be very good this year.
How do we know that?
Because I've read about them. They lost their head coach. They're going to be down.
We'll
Southeast
see.
Missouri State is a good team, and they play Kansas State. I've given that line 25.5. We'll start with you, Max.
I'm going with K-State for 6. I don't know why. I just took K-State for 6. Because Tim Fitzgerald. Why get Tim upset?
That's a. You can certainly defend that pick, but Southeast Missouri State again ranked, I believe, 7th or 8th in the preseason poll for their division. I'm going to take Southeast Missouri State to get inside that number, but just for 1 point.
Your line again is what?
25.5.
Obviously there's not going to be a line for that game, but I'm looking at 24/7 Sports. They created the line of 24.5. So you did good.
Well,
congratulations.
Again, Engine.
I'll take K-State for 6.
Say that again. That I did what?
I don't
What
remember.
did they have for the KU game?
I don't know. I didn't look that one up.
I'd like to know because I try to be as on point as I can possibly be. Duda picks K-State for 4. So I'm the only one picking Southeast Missouri State against the spread. Maybe that extra point will help me.
Maybe.
You know? Max, good job. We got all the picks for week 1 made. When you find that KU Missouri State game, have you found it yet?
No, it's not like people setting line. It was not like an article full of lines. It was just talking about that one game. I can't find anything about the KU game.
All right. There are your picks. Let's get to our friend KU Pat, who I'm sure has a few choice words for the man who's not here, Jason Duda. Pat, hello.
Hey, I did try to call in the first segment, but there was something wrong with your phone. Before I get to Duda, I don't even know where to begin with him. I had lunch with Karen Norton today. She and I have a tradition. We always have lunch before the first football game. So she wanted me to tell you hi, and of course I have renewed my season football tickets, and very excited about tomorrow.
Before you go on, let me say who Karen Norton is, formerly the head person at the Independent School and somebody who's supported local radio here in the market for a long time. All right, go ahead, Pat.
And without question, even though I detest K-State, she is one of the nicest people I have ever met, which makes me wonder how she could be a K-State fan. But, Duda, you went 4-9 last year against the spread with KU. It wouldn't matter if KU was 11-0. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It's automatic. So I have no other reason to believe that he does have brain damage from his hockey days. He doesn't learn, and that's why he finishes last every year. So let him know what I said at your draft tonight.
We will for sure let him know.
And of course, he wouldn't be on the show today, but I love Duda, but my goodness gracious, does he not think KU, the days of 2-10 are done? I mean, look, I think 7 wins, maybe 8. I'm not crazy. I don't think they're going to win the Big 12, but Jeff, when you keep saying, I don't know, that's right, you don't know. The defense will be better because it couldn't be any worse. So,
but it's still going to be bad.
That's true. You don't know. So
he apparently knows about that, however.
Yeah,
and when he doesn't know anything else.
So,
well, what else am I supposed to do? Go to their practice?
No, but you could do some reading. You don't know anything about their recruiting. You don't know who they brought in on the transfer portal.
Never claimed to.
Very great points, Pat. And Jeff, Jeff's still learning.
I'm not. I've learned enough.
We're still trying to make the engine run a little more smoothly.
Thank you. I am the engine. I appreciate it.
Stick to the Eagles and your pathetic Guardians. Go Jayhawks.
There you go.
Pat's an angry old
man.
Pat,
now we're calling him old.
Ancient, yeah.
Wow. Why'd you decide to go there?
Why'd he do that to me? What did I do to him?
Oh, he's playing the game, man.
He's not. He called me pathetic.
He called your Guardians pathetic.
That's not funny.
He said the Guardians were pathetic.
It's not funny.
Well, whether it's funny or not.
Well, I say it's not, so I'm going to throw some not funny insults back his way.
Well, that's too bad. I don't like to hear that.
How it works.
I don't like hearing that with our loyal listeners.
Well, maybe you should be a little more loyal.
Well, I mean, I'll go back and forth with anybody, but I don't know. I don't know that
I didn't do anything to Pat because I don't know everything about KU. I'm never going to know everything about KU football. And if that makes me underqualified to be on the show, that's his opinion. That's great.
Well,
Tell him he can come host at any time.
Oh, really? That's what. Now we're throwing out challenges.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to have the most boring show in the history of sports radio,
listen to you.
Then let's turn to KU Pat.
You know what, Pat? You call this show anytime.
I didn't say he couldn't.
I mean, he loves you. He loves you.
No, he doesn't.
He just doesn't think you're very wise.
Oh, that's not love. Insults aren't love. I know maybe in your world.
Well, he said Duda's got brain damage.
Well, it doesn't seem like he really likes Duda.
Said he loves Duda. You can love people.
Well, he didn't say he loves me, so
all right.
There must be a big problem.
Well, we'll stick to what got us here. Thank you for the call, KU Pat. We appreciate it, and you're entitled to your opinion.
Of course he is.
If you don't like some elements of this show, you're entitled to say that. Some of us have thick enough skin to be able to handle that.
My skin is plenty thick.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could call this show and say, Bob, you're terrible.
But I didn't say a word to KU Pat, and here he's just throwing in
There's
these
a lot of
insults.
people who would call this show and I wouldn't have to say a word, and they'd just say immediately, I can't stand you. I haven't liked you for 40 years. I don't know why you are in Wichita.
Well, let's hear from...
I've heard it all. You know what? And you know what I do to that? It goes off. It just slides off my back.
Oh, that's not how I treat that. That's one guy. This is KU Pat, who's been calling the show forever, for some reason just decided to attack me.
He went off on you. That's okay. That's happened to me more times than I can count.
But, no, it hasn't.
Oh, Jeff.
Not by someone who's going to continue. Like he's not. That's not his last call. That's not the last we'll hear.
Not.
I hope it is. But
wait a minute. You can't say that. You can't tell our callers not to call.
I didn't. I just
be tougher than that. My God. I mean, that's as thin-skinned as you can possibly
There's
be.
no thin skin, but
You don't have
here's
thick
my
skin.
philosophy. I didn't mess with Pat. Why does he need to mess with me? Right? Well, I'm just living my life over here doing a radio show. I didn't say, hey, Pat, you moron. What do you think about KU? Why do you think they're going to win, idiot? I'm just sitting over here listening to you guys have a conversation. Didn't say a word to Pat, just kind of
Well, he
laying
didn't
out.
like it when
hey,
you
Jeff,
said-
you're an idiot.
He didn't like it when you said I don't know
Well,
about
I don't
KU.
know.
Well, and we made that point early
And
in
I'm
the
not
show.
going to know about any college football
Not knowing doesn't work on radio.
team. It does work. If I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know.
Well, you better have an opinion.
But I don't.
Well, then I am with
KU,
Pat.
I will learn about KU
Here's what I'll say.
when they play.
Here's what I'll say. If you don't have an opinion on KU football right now, whether it's wrong or right, but if you don't have an opinion, your worth to this show is null
But the
and void.
reason I don't have an opinion is because there is a chance that they'll be
Now-
really good. Hold on.
Well,
I'm explaining this. But I also know, despite Pat's pleas otherwise, their defense is going to be bad.
I don't know that it will be bad. I don't know that.
It's going to be.
I
it's
think
not
it'll
gonna
be
good.
improved. It has nowhere to go but to be improved, as Pat said. Could it be
Perhaps.
improved to the point where they win 7 or 8 games? I think that's reasonable to think
But
that.
that's okay. Then that's what I don't know. That's the part I don't know. I know their offense is probably going to be fantastic. But if their defense isn't that good, then it's not going to
Well,
be
they don't
a
wanna-
banner
they
year.
don't want a repeat of having to outscore everybody. But Pat's overall point that I'm the engine,
I don't think he
completely
said
on.
that.
Well, but it was, if you read beneath the lines or between the lines.
You know, I'm over here. I'm thinking, hey, I can't believe we got rid of Eric Haas right after we signed him. And here's Pat.
And that's why he lashed out at the Guardians.
Maybe, but I didn't say a word about him.
Because the only thing you can speak to with some authority is the Guardians, and no one in this market cares. Not one person.
I don't claim to
outside
be
of
an
the
authority.
The two guys that you've dragged into this
I desperately
this
don't want to be an authority.
cesspool with you, your friend Scott, who was living a great life. Who was he a fan of before you
He
dragged him?
wasn't.
See,
He chose a team, and he chose my team because that's our team.
and who's the other Guardians fan?
We got Bob Getz. We got Stan Finger. We got that guy or that lady who was driving the car with 3 Guardian stickers. I hope she listens.
Oh, really?
sometime. Yeah. I told you about this last week.
Oh, yeah, wherever she is.
She was on Rockin' 13th.
Well, she probably bought that car from a Guardians fan who lost a bet, and to support his drug habit.
I'm much calmer now.
Good.
I needed 10 minutes like they get after baseball. You don't just come at
If
me.
you don't take this show with a grain of salt in every way, if you haven't learned by now that
but was
KU
that Pat taking stuff with a grain of salt?
Absolutely. That's his way. That's our way.
He's an Oakland A's fan. You don't see me. Hey, I hope your stadium crumbles to the ground, which I do.
You really hope
now
it
I do,
crumbles to the ground. And you think Pat doesn't just wipe that off his
What do
shoulder?
you think Pat is feeling right now? Is he laughing? Is he?
He's so glad he got under your skin,
He probably is.
which is how we operate
He had lunch
from our
He
generation.
had lunch at 10:15 this morning.
You did?
No, he did.
Oh, now an
'cause he's
age
old.
joke. That's all you got.
Yes,
And there's nothing wrong with having an early lunch.
absolutely not.
On that note, and
Is that it?
kudos again to Pat. Call it a day. We will be back tomorrow. Jeff and I will. We'll talk with Tim Fitzgerald from Go Power Cat and Joanna Chadwick from Byte Magazine. At least we might have even something more. Have a good night, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit BetterHelp.com/positive to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/positive.